They don't rely on 4K textures, no ray tracing, no cinematic mocap, and yet they stick with you, they disturb you. Fear and Hunger, Faith, Dread Delusion. These indie horror games don't just scare you, they unsettle you. And one of their most powerful tools? The retro graphics. I'm Hollowbite, and today we're diving into why some of the scariest modern horror experiences look like they came from the past. Let's start with the most notorious Fear and Hunger. It's a turn-based RPG, yes, but one soaked in dread, depravity and despair. You play as a character trapped in a dungeon full of cults, curses and creatures, all while hunger, madness and death gnaw at your sanity. You can starve to death, you can lose limbs, and sometimes things happen that you can't undo. The pixel art is gritty, sketchy, borderline grotesque, but that rawness fits. It just leaves enough to the imagination. And that's where the horror creeps in, because when the game doesn't spell everything out, your brain fills in the blanks. And what do you imagine? It's usually way worse than what you see. Now let's talk about Faith, a demonic possession game that looks like it's running on a 1980s Apple II. No joke, it's basically made out of pixels and bips, but somehow it's scarier than most modern horror titles. You play as a priest investigating terrifying supernatural events. The story unfolds across 3 chapters, filled with twisted cultists, corrupted children and satanic rituals, all delivered in that lo-fi, cursed VHS aesthetic. The genius? It uses minimalism like a weapon. The animation is jerky, the voices are robotic, and yet it feels possessed. It taps into that same psychological space as analog horror, old school creepypastas or watching something you shouldn't have found. It doesn't show you fear, it implies it, and your brain, once again, does the rest. Dread Delusion isn't traditional horror, it's more like unsettling fantasy, an open world RPG with surreal, dreamlike quality. You explore falling islands, decaying towns and haunted ruins where everything feels just a little off. The plot? You're a prisoner set free in a broken world ruled by forgotten gods, and your choices determine whether that world gets rebuilt or devoured. The visuals are pure PlayStation 1 nostalgia. Think Morrowind or Kingsfield, but run through a nightmare filter. Textures are low-res, colors are unnatural, faces are expressionless. It feels like a memory of a game, or maybe a dream of one. And that's what makes it creepy. Because when you can't quite explain what's wrong with what you're seeing, it lingers. So why are so many indie horror devs choosing these outdated styles? Well, part of it is budget. Realistic graphics cost money, but low fidelity, it frees devs up to focus on tone, mechanics and story. But there's more. Retro visuals unlock fear through abstraction. When the graphics don't hold your hand, your brain gets involved, and when your imagination is triggered, the fear becomes personal. These styles also let devs get weird. Faith wouldn't work in Unreal Engine 5, Fear and Hunger in HD would lose its soul, and Dread Delusion? The lo-fi aesthetic is the point. It's not about looking cheap, it's about creating atmosphere. Plus, nostalgia plays a role. If you grew up on PlayStation 1 horror or RPG Maker creepypasta games, these visuals hit something primal. They remind us of being young, scared, and curious. So are these lo-fi horror games just riding a trend? Or are they proof that style matters more than resolution? For me, they are some of the most creative, disturbing and unforgettable experiences out there. Because horror doesn't need to look real, it just needs to feel wrong. But what do you think? Do these visuals enhance the horror, or do you prefer modern, polished fear? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next nightmare.